What happens when a casual morning show conversation turns into a heated confrontation that leaves everyone speechless? That's exactly what unfolded when Kylie Kelce walked off the Today with Jenna and friends set after what began as light. Banter escalated into something far more intense. Kylie had been invited to discuss her upcoming charity initiative and share some lighthearted stories about life in the NFL spotlight. Producers expected a feel-good, easy interview. Jenna Bush-Hager came prepared with questions about Kylie's community work and her experience navigating public attention as the wife of Philadelphia Eagles center Jason Kelce. As the cameras rolled, Jenna greeted Kylie with warmth and enthusiasm. Kylie settled comfortably into her seat, ready to talk about the foundation and the families it helped. The conversation started smoothly, focusing on charitable work and family life. Kylie spoke passionately about giving kids access to sports, programs in underserved communities, and the energy in the studio was positive. But the tone shifted when Jenna pivoted to a topic that had been circulating online: NFL wives and their level of visibility. She noted that some wives had become almost as famous as the players, and asked whether this new dynamic risked overshadowing the athletes themselves. Kylie's expression tightened slightly, though she remained composed. Kylie responded diplomatically, saying every family manages public attention differently. But Jenna pushed further, asking if increased visibility from wives might create distractions. That was the moment everything changed. Distractions. Kylie replied, clearly taken aback. So women supporting their husbands is now considered a distraction? That's really what we're going with here? The tension in the room became palpable. The co-hosts exchanged uneasy glances. Producers hovered behind the cameras, unsure whether to cut to commercial. Jenna attempted to soften her question, insisting she wasn't attacking Kylie personally, just exploring a broader conversation about attention in professional sports. But Kylie wasn't buying it. I came here to talk about helping kids, she said sharply. Instead, you want to debate whether I'm too visible as a supportive wife. Is that really what morning television has come to? Jenna tried to recover, but her explanations only inflamed the situation. Kylie leaned in, her voice steady, but edged with frustration. When you suggest that wives being supportive is somehow a problem, you're making it personal. You're basically telling me I should sit quietly in the background so I don't interfere with my husband's career. A co-host attempted to redirect the conversation back to the foundation, but Kylie wasn't having it. No, I think we should finish this, she said. Because apparently there's some kind of standard NFL wives are supposed to meet. Should we not attend games? Not celebrate our husband's successes? Pretend we don't exist? Jenna's confidence visibly faltered as she tried to insist. She wasn't implying any of that, but the damage was done, and tension had replaced the warmth that started the interview. When Jenna insisted that she was only making a general observation that when you talk about certain wives becoming too famous and overshadowing their husbands, it isn't about anyone specific, the studio fell into a heavy, breathless silence. The entire audience seemed frozen, aware they were witnessing a moment that would be replayed and discussed long after the cameras stopped rolling. Jenna straightened, clearly trying to regain control of the interview. She took a steadying breath and said she believed the whole situation was a simple miscommunication, that she had never intended to criticize Kylie or anyone else personally. She only wanted to explore a topic that had been circulating in the media. Kylie let out a bitter laugh. Miscommunication, she said, was one word for it. Another was ambush. She accused Jenna of inviting her onto the show under false pretenses, pretending the conversation would be about her charity work, only to blindside her with loaded questions about whether she was an appropriate NFL wife. Jenna bristled. her own temper flaring, insisting that she had done nothing wrong. She had been doing this job for years, she said, and prided herself on asking thoughtful questions. If Kylie couldn't handle being asked about her public profile, maybe she shouldn't have agreed to come on television. Asterisk, the air in the studio shifted. A line had been crossed. Everyone could feel it. Kylie's eyes widened with disbelief. Her voice was dangerously calm when she asked Jenna if she had really just implied she couldn't handle being on television simply because she objected to inappropriate questions. Jenna immediately tried to walk it back, saying that, as a public figure, Kylie should expect difficult questions. Difficult questions about her charity work. Kylie shot back, not difficult questions about how to properly be an NFL wife from someone who had never been married to a professional athlete. The comment hit Jenna hard. Her polished on-air composure began to crumble as she insisted she didn't need to be married to an athlete to notice what was happening in the sports world. And frankly, she added sharply, some NFL families had become over the top and attention-seeking. Asterisk, Kylie's posture shifted as she sat up straighter. There it was. Now they were getting to the truth. Jenna thought she was attention-seeking, that she supported her husband too loudly, too visibly, that she needed to step back so she didn't embarrass herself or the league. Panic spread across the co-hosts' faces. One of them tried to intervene, suggesting they take a commercial break before things escalated further. But both women ignored the plea. They were locked in now, neither willing to back down. Asterisk, trying to regain her footing, Jenna doubled down. She insisted she had never told Kylie to learn her place, only that there should be boundaries between personal and professional life. When family members become bigger stories than the actual games, she said, it shifts the focus of the sport. That was the final spark. Kylie shot to her feet, her chair rolling backward with a sharp scrape. The studio crackled with tension as she stared down at Jenna, hands on her hips, her voice ringing with disbelief. She accused Jenna of inviting her onto the show because she assumed she would be an easy target. Someone who would smile politely while being fed condescending questions about knowing her role? Asterisk. Jenna's face flushed as she insisted that wasn't true. She had invited Kylie because the viewers were interested in her foundation work and her experience within the NFL world. Kylie laughed mockingly, repeating the words back to her. Apparently, her perspective was only valid if she stayed quiet and supportive from the background. The producers behind the cameras were now in full crisis mode, frantically gesturing and whispering directions. None of it mattered. The confrontation had a momentum of its own. Asterisk, Jenna's voice rose, turning shrill as she accused Kylie of twisting her words. She claimed she had been trying to have a nuanced discussion about personal and professional boundaries in sports. Nuanced, Kylie repeated with disdain. There was nothing nuanced about calling supportive wives distractions. Nuanced about implying they shouldn't be visible or enthusiastic. Jenna protested again, but her words were falling on deaf ears. Kylie accused her of backtracking because she realized how insulting the conversation sounded. Asterisk, she lifted her chin and said she didn't need Jenna's approval or anyone else's to support her husband, to celebrate his success, or to be proud of him. A co-host attempted again to calm the situation, suggesting maybe there had been a misunderstanding, but Kylie only shook her head. The only misunderstanding, she said, was that she believed she would be treated with basic respect on this show. Instead, she had been forced to defend her right to exist as a supportive spouse. Asterisk, sensing her credibility slipping away, Jenna tried one more time to justify herself. She claimed Kylie was being overly sensitive and reminded her that plenty of fans and commentators had noticed certain NFL wives becoming very high profile. The word sensitive was the last straw. Kylie's eyes flashed with anger as she stepped closer. Overly sensitive. So now she was emotional and overreacting because she didn't appreciate sexist talking points dressed up as journalism. Jenna insisted the questions weren't sexist, but Kylie wasn't having it. She asked if Jenna would ask the same questions of male family members. Would she accuse Tom Brady's father of being too vocal if he proudly supported his son? Would she claim he overshadowed Tom's achievements? Jenna had no response, and her silence said everything. Kylie lowered her voice to a cutting whisper. This entire conversation, she said, had been about putting women in their place, about telling them to be seen and not heard. Well, she wasn't going to sit there and let Jenna lecture her on how to be a proper NFL wife. Jenna tried one last time to say she respected Kylie and all NFL families, and that she only wanted to explore a topic currently in the news. An interesting topic, Kylie repeated with disgust. That's what Jenna called questioning whether supportive wives were distractions. That's what she called implying they should stay quiet and invisible. The co-hosts were openly panicking. Now, the audience sat frozen, shifting uncomfortably as the reality settled in. There was no salvaging this interview. It had transformed into a full-scale confrontation that no one in the room would forget. The confrontation had reached full intensity. One of the co-hosts finally blurted out that they should take a commercial break, but her voice was drowned out as both women ignored her completely. Kylie began gathering her purse and jacket, her movements sharp, controlled, and fueled by frustration. You know what, Jenna? I came here in good faith to talk about helping kids and supporting community programs, Kylie said, her voice steady but simmering with anger. Instead, I've been subjected to a thinly veiled attack on my character and my marriage. It wasn't an attack, Jenna protested, though her voice wavered with uncertainty. It absolutely was an attack. Kylie fired back, slinging her purse over her shoulder. And the fact that you can't even acknowledge that makes it worse. You've wasted my time. You've wasted your viewers' time. And you've shown exactly what kind of journalist you really are. The comments seemed to slice through Jenna's composure, and her professional demeanor finally crumbled. I don't think that's fair, Kylie. I've been doing this job for years. I've always conducted myself professionally. Kylie paused, turning back to her. Professionally? Is that what you call this? 'Cause from where I'm standing? This looks like amateur hour pretending to be serious journalism. The studio fell into a heavy silence. Kylie adjusted her jacket with deliberate calm, her confidence standing in stark contrast to the chaos that had unfolded. When she spoke again, her voice was firm, directed not at Jenna, but at the viewers watching from home. Here's what I want your viewers to understand, she said. I am proud of my husband. I'm proud of his achievements. I'm proud to support him, and I will continue to do so no matter what anyone thinks. If that makes me too visible or too vocal for some people's comfort, that's their problem, not mine. Kylie, please, Jenna said, desperate to salvage what remained of the interview. I think we can work through this. Sit down and we can have a more constructive conversation. There's no misunderstanding here, Kylie replied, turning to face her directly. You know exactly what you were trying to do, and so does everyone else in this studio. You wanted to use me to make a point about NFL wives, and when I pushed back, you doubled down instead of admitting your approach was wrong. The co-hosts sat frozen, unsure whether to intervene or let the moment continue. The audience was silent, hanging on to every word of what had clearly become a historic on-air confrontation. I want to be very clear. Kylie continued. I don't owe anyone an explanation for how I support my family. I don't owe anyone an apology for being visible or vocal or enthusiastic about my husband's career. And I certainly don't owe anyone the courtesy of staying quiet when they question my character. Jenna's face had gone pale. I never questioned your character, she whispered. Asterisk, you absolutely did, Kylie said. When you suggested. I was attention-seeking. You questioned my character. When you implied my support was inappropriate, you questioned my character. When you told me I couldn't handle difficult questions, you questioned my character. Asterisk, each accusation seemed to land like a physical blow. Jenna winced, realizing too late the weight of her own words. Asterisk, what's most disappointing? Kylie said as she stepped toward the edge of the stage. Is that you had a chance to have a meaningful conversation about the work we're doing to help kids and underserved communities. You could have highlighted something important. Instead, you chose questions that were meant to make me look bad and reinforce outdated stereotypes about women. That's not journalism. That's gossip dressed up as seriousness. Asterisk, a co-host. Tried one last time to salvage something. Kylie, before you go, is there anything you'd like to say about the foundation? Asterisk, Kylie paused. For a moment, her expression softened. Yes, she said warmly. The foundation is doing incredible work. We're helping kids gain access to sports and activities regardless of their financial situation. If any viewers want to learn more or get involved, they can visit our website. 'Cause at the end of the day, that's what matters, not whether I'm too visible, but whether we're making a real difference in kids' lives. Asterisk, Jenna sat in stunned silence. Kylie had done what the host could not. She had brought the focus back to something meaningful. Asterisk, Kylie began walking off the stage, but at the top of the steps, she turned back one final time. Her voice carried a note of disappointment rather than anger. Asterisk, you know what, Jenna? I actually feel sorry for you. You had a chance to do real journalism today, to highlight important work and make a positive impact. Instead, you chose to attack a woman for supporting her husband. I hope it was worth it. Asterisk with that. Kylie exited the stage, leaving behind a studio filled with shock, regret, and the unmistakable sense that this moment would be dissected for months. Jenna sat frozen in her chair, the co-hosts exchanging helpless looks. And someone finally muttered something about going to a commercial break, though everyone knew the damage was already done. Asterisk. This explosive confrontation between Kylie Kelce and Jenna Bush would soon become one of the most talked about moments in daytime television history. Asterisk.